Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Mindy, and in today's video, I have some fun, spooky inspiration to share with you today featuring honeybee stamps and ways to add sparkle to your Halloween projects. Two of the main products I will be using today is this Happy Halloween stamp set and coordinating die, and then I also have the set A Little Spooky Honey Cuts. First thing I'm going to do is stamp out this creepy cool spider web background. I don't think I have a lot of spider web backgrounds, but they do make really great Halloween cards. So I'm placing this on top of my cardstock here in my Misty, and this is 80-pound white cardstock, and then I'm going to stamp this in antique linen distress ink. Now, one of the reasons I decided to do this was because I was going to do some ink blending and start in the center of the spider web, and I wanted to be able to see where that center is because it's not in the center of the card. So I was going to be starting with a light color ink and then leaving my stamp in my Misty and coming back and stamping it again. I changed my mind on where I wanted my ink blending to go, but the concept is still the same. I'm starting at the bottom of the cardstock using Tumble Glass Distress Oxide ink with my blending brush. Now, because that is such a light ink, I did have to go over it multiple times for that light blue to really show up. Then I came in with Blueprint Sketch. Once again, that's kind of light. With blending brushes, you're going to get a lighter application, meaning you will have to go over it numerous times versus if you were using a foam blending tool. So after the Blueprint Sketch, I'm coming in with a Villainous Potion. I will blend that up into the top, and then to top it all off, I'm bringing in Black Soot. So that's just going at the very top. But I do have some harsh lines here, so I'm just going to quickly go back over all of those areas to help smooth that transition out. After the background is all blended, I'm going to set this off on the side to dry because I am going to come back in and heat emboss on top of it. So while I'm waiting for that background to dry, I brought in the Happy Halloween and this creepy spider, and I'm stamping it onto white cardstock using the Honeybee Stamps Intense Black ink. This is the only type of spider I will allow in my house. I really enjoy using my bitty buzz cutter, which sits off on the side, but I need to trim these down a little bit so it fits onto the smaller plates. Then I just lined up the coordinating die. I'm holding them in place with Post-it tape and die cutting out the sentiment and also that spider. I'm taking this crow that's sitting on a branch, and this is from the set A Little Spooky Honey Cuts, and I die cut that out of some Storm Cloud cardstock. Now back to my ink blended panel after it is completely dry. I am bringing it into the Misty, and I prepped that with an anti-static powder tool. Now mind you, my spider web is still in the same exact place. I did not move it. I'm stamping it back down over that cardstock with a Versafine ink, which will stay wet for a little while longer. It looks amazing in black on top of this blended background, but now I'm bringing in black glitter embossing powder or black sparkle embossing powder. This is amazing. You definitely have to try some of this in your Halloween projects. So after I tapped off the excess and I warmed up my heat tool and melted all of that, and check out all of this sparkle. It looks so neat in person. Coming back to my crow here that I die cut out of that dark gray cardstock, I'm going to ink blend a little bit of the intense black ink just on one side to kind of give it a little bit of dimension so it didn't look too flat. I had die cut 3 of them, and I'm layering them together with liquid glue. It was a lot easier to create dimension this way than trying to futz with adding foam squares behind all of these small pieces. I'm going to add a little bit more sparkle to my background, and that is using the White Glimmer Metallic ink from Hero Arts. So I just put a couple drops on my work surface along with a couple drops of water. I'm mixing that together with my paintbrush and adding this to the background. This really just adds so much to your backgrounds. It's a very subtle look. I created a card base out of 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to attach my panel to the top of this so I can continue working on my card after everything had dried. I also hold my card base shut with a little bit of Post-it tape so it's easier for me to attach everything to the front. For the sentiment, I'm adding foam squares behind my Happy Halloween and placing that towards the top up by that center of the spider web. I'm then going to add my crow down towards the bottom. For that one, since I already have dimension to it, I just added liquid glue and attach that to the front. And I do end up putting some heavy blocks on top of it to just let it sit there for a minute or two so it's really adhered down. And then my creepy little spider, I have 2 foam squares behind that to pop that up as well. I felt the top of my card was missing something, so off screen I stamped and die cut out this spider that's coming down from the spider web from the top of the card, and then I just trimmed that excess off. A few small finishing touches is taking these shimmer and shine enamel dots. I think that's what they're called. They're just really clear enamel dots, which it's hard sometimes to kind of see, but I think they really add to the background. And then the last thing I'm doing is adding some of this clear glaze over the top of my spider. So there's a couple ways to add sparkle and shine to your card projects and still have this spooky background if that is the look you're going for. I hope you enjoyed today's inspiration. I will have all of the supplies used down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. And even if you're not into creepy, spooky cards like me, I hope you're able to still pull some inspiration and tips out of the video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love it if you gave this video a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments, are you a creepy, spooky Halloween person? Thanks again and see you next time.